See, let me put up your one more time here. Connie says, thank you, agreed. Yes. Let me put up the book cover one more time before he reads. Isn't that pretty? I like that so much. Okay.
Okay. So whenever you're ready, sir.
Okay, so this is from page 1, chapter 1, paragraph 1, and it is about 5 or 6 pages long. So here we go. Ben Hastings plummeted into the darkness, falling faster and faster into a scene of madness. A scream rose from Ben's throat, but before he could leave his mouth, he slammed into the ground. The wind knocked out of him, he labored to breathe. Bright sunlight, diluted by swirling clouds of thick dust, greeted him. The air rang with the sharp clash of weapons, inhuman screams, animal snarls, and shouts in an unfamiliar language. Coughing and choking on the dust, Ben struggled to his knees and froze. His disbelieving eyes revealed a sight that caused him to immediately doubt his sanity. Men, some mounted, others on foot, fought a furious battle all around him. But when gaps in the dust allowed him to get a closer look at the combatants, he realized the fighters were not men, but creatures whose appearance bore only a tenuous resemblance to humans. Squat and powerfully built, the being nearest him had a triple ridge of bone that ran across its skull. The bony ridges met at the creature's forehead, giving him a perpetual scowl. A beak-like snout protruded from the creature's face, sharp fangs exposed when it opened its muzzle to snarl. The growl ended abruptly when one of the mounted riders rammed a spear through his opponent. Bright yellow blood fountained from the gory wound, and the creature collapsed. Fear gripped Ben with icy fingers, and he began to hyperventilate. Petrified, he watched the mounted creature struggle to pull his weapon from the carcass. Subtle differences distinguished the mannish beast from its dead opponent. While of the same general size and physique, the being's snout was more abbreviated and its mouth wider. A purple wattle of flesh, much like the comb on a rooster, protruded from the top of its anvil-shaped head. The warrior rode a mount with a horse-like body. This resemblance terminated at the mount's long, scaly neck attached to a blunt head, its wide mouth filled with sharp teeth. Loud, unintelligible curses came from the rooster-combed fighter while he struggled to yank the spear from his dead adversary. He finally jumped off the bizarre horse-like creature and ripped the pike free. With the battle still raging, Roostercomb looked for his next opponent, and straight at Ben. For a moment, time stopped as Ben and the strange warrior gaped at each other. The pause ended when Roostercomb raised his spear, released a guttural cry, and charged at Ben. The sight of the warrior bearing down on him with the sharp-tipped lance broke Ben's paralysis. "Shit!" Ben cried. He jumped to his feet and blindly fled. The thick, choking dust kicked up by the fierce fighting made it difficult to see. The dim images of tents appeared through the haze, their bulky shapes forcing him to zigzag around them. As he rounded one pavilion, he tripped over a guy rope. With an oof, he sprawled face first into the parched loam. Ben rolled into a sitting position and spat out grass and dirt. A lance point suddenly speared the ground between his legs just inches from his crotch, followed by Roostercomb's leering face. As the surreal being pulled the lance back to make a killing blow, Ben grabbed a handful of the loose, dry soil and, in desperation, threw it into Roostercomb's face. The creature howled in pain, dropped the spear, and clapped claw-tipped hands to its eyes. Driven by terror so sharp his heart felt like it might explode, Ben leaped to his feet and ran. Tents and fighting creatures flew by in a blur as he sprinted headlong away from the battle. The noise of the struggle abated, and the dust had thinned when Ben rounded another large pavilion and skidded to a stop. Bent over, his chest heaved like bellows. He turned his head and saw a different set of strange animals picketed not 10 feet from him. Startled by the sight, he almost bolted again. After a hesitant moment, he crept closer for a better look. Saddles on the creatures' backs identified them as riding mounts. The beasts resembled horse-sized versions of a Tyrannosaurus rex. Large, leathery wings lay folded behind their backs and were held immobile by a mesh net secured with leather thongs. They stood upright on large, muscular hind legs with vestigial front legs held folded and close to their bodies. Each T-Rex had a short, thick tail as a counterweight to help it balance. Leather muzzles held the rounded, horny snouts of the creatures shut. The purpose of the muzzles became apparent when the T-Rex closest to him turned and tried to remove his hands with its rows of needle-sharp teeth. Ben jumped back, and as he cast about for another avenue of escape, Roostercomb rounded the tent. A cry of triumph left his snout at the sight of Ben. Trapped between the pavilion and the line of winged mounts, Ben took the only choice left to him. He jumped onto the back of the nearest T-Rex. He wriggled into a saddle obviously designed for a different butt than his. His hands scrabbled at the mesh net, hobbling the creature's wings. Something flashed by so close to his face he felt the wind of its passage. The spear, thrown by a Roostercomb, quivered with its point buried in the ground not 20 feet away. Gibbering in fear, Ben redoubled his efforts. He tore the net from the creature's wings and tossed it away. He risked a look over his shoulder, and Roostercomb took an object from a broad leather belt at its waist and placed a short arrow in it. Ben blinked, then realized the weapon must be a crossbow. Frantic, he grabbed the leather reins tethering the creature to the picket line. He ripped them free, and the picket line shook wildly. This caused an immediate reaction among the other winged beasts. They hopped about, calling out in short, high-pitched barks. Ben's back itched in anticipation of the crossbow bolt, sure to bury itself there. He sawed at the reins and kicked at the creature's sides with his heel. Nothing happened. His shouts, shaking of reins, and sharp digs of his heels did nothing but anger the T-Rex. It repeatedly nipped at Ben. Snap! At the sound, Ben gripped the pommel and threw himself to the opposite side of the winged T-Rex. A feathered bolt missed him and plunged into the meaty flank of his riding mount. The creature reacted instantly. With an ear-splitting honk of pain and outrage, the mount vaulted 10 feet into the air. Its wings opened to full extension. The T-Rex glided a short distance away and landed. The action took Ben completely by surprise, and without his firm grip on the pommel, he would have fallen off. Ben had just righted himself when the T-Rex pitched its head forward, powerful hind legs moving like pistons. They shot away, the wind whistling past his eyes and ears. And just going to read the last little part here. Ben's thoughts drifted back to the sequence of events that brought him to the life or death situation he now faced. Why did I take that damn key and use it? End of chapter 1.
Very
Okay.
good.
Very good.